梁歌制作，雨天的书，作者周作人。胡语，福元兄，北京近日多雨，你在长安道上不知也遇到否？想必能增你旅行的许多佳趣。
Produced by Liang Gu, the book on a rainy day, author, Zhou Zuoren. Bitter rain, brother Fu Yuan. It has been rainy in Beijing recently. I wonder if you have encountered it on Chang'an Road. It will definitely add a lot of fun to your trip.
雨中旅行不一定是很愉快的。我以前在航护车上时常遇雨，没感困难，所以我与火车的雨不能感到什么兴味，但卧在乌篷船里，静听打棚的雨声。
Traveling in the rain is not necessarily very pleasant. I used to encounter rain on the Hangzhou-Shanghai car before, and every feeling was difficult, so I couldn't feel any interest in the rain of the train, but I was lying in the tent boat and listened to the sound of the rain. Then,
加上奶的鲁声以及靠堂来靠下去的呼声，却是一种梦似的诗境。倘若更大胆一点，仰卧在狡猾小船内冒雨夜行，更显出水乡著名的风趣。
Coupled with the sound of the oar and the cry of, "Come to the pond, lean to the pond," it is a dreamlike poetic state. If you are more daring, you can lie on your back in a rowing boat and walk in the rain at night, which will show the fun of the residents of the water town.
虽然较为危险，一不小心拙劣地转一个身，便要使船底朝天。20多年前往东浦吊先父的保姆之丧，归途遇暴风雨。
Although it is more dangerous, if you are not careful, turn it badly, you must make the bottom of the ship facing the sky. For more than 2 decades, I went to the nanny of Dongpu to hang the father's nanny, and the return to the storm.
一叶扁舟在白鹅似的波浪中间滚过大树岗，危险极也愉快极了。我大约还有好些为鱼时候，至少也是断发纹身时候的脾气，对于水坡感到亲近。
A leaf-flat boat rolled over Dashu Port in the middle of the White Goose-like wave, and the danger was extremely happy. I also have a good time when I have a good fish, at least the temper of the tattoo. I feel close to the water.
不过北京的泥塘式的许多海实在不很满意，这样的水没有也并不怎么可惜。泥往闪半天去，似乎要走好2天的准沙漠路，在那时候倘若遇见风雨。
However, I am really not satisfied with the many sea-like mud ponds in Beijing. It is not a pity that there is no such water. It seems that you have to walk on a quasi-desert road for 2 days to go to Shaanxi Bantian. At that time, if you encounter wind and rain, you will be injured.
大约是很舒服的，遥想你胡坐骡车中，在大漠之上，大雨之下，喝着4达之内的汽水，悠然进行，可以算是不易快哉之一。但这只是我的空想。
It was very comfortable. I thought that you were sitting in the car. On the desert, under the heavy rain, drinking soda in the 4 dozen, leisurely, can be regarded as one of the not fast. But this is just my fantasy.
如诗人的理想一样的靠不住，或者你在骡车中遇雨，很感困难，正在叫苦连天也未可知，这需等你回京后问你再说了。这回的大雨。
As the poet's ideal is unreliable, or you encounter rain in the car, it is very difficult. It is unknown to be bitter. It is necessary to wait for you to return to Beijing and ask you to talk about it. The heavy rain this time.
只有2种人最是喜欢，第一是小孩们，他们喜欢水，却极不容易得到。现在看见院子里成了河，便成群结队地去淌河去，赤了足身到水里去。
Only 2 kinds of people like the most. The first is children. They like water, but they are not easy to get. Now they see the yard becoming a river, and they will go to flowing the river in groups, stretching into the water with red feet.
实在很有点冷，但他们不怕，下到水里还不肯上来。大人见小孩们玩得有趣，也1个2个的加入，但是成绩却不甚佳。那一天里滑倒了3个人。
It's a bit cold, but they are not afraid, and they are not willing to come up in the water. The adults saw the children's fun, and they also joined one by one, but the results were not very good. 3 people slipped on that day.
其中2个都是大人，其一为我的兄弟，其一是川岛君。第2种喜欢下雨的，则为蛤蟆。从前同小孩们往高亮桥去钓鱼，钓不着，只捉了好些蛤蟆，有绿的。
Both of them are adults. One of them is my brother, and one is Kawashima. The second kind of people who like to rain are shrimp. In the past, I could catch fishing to the Gaoyang Bridge in the past.
有花条的，拿回来都放在院子里，平常偶叫几声，在这几天里便整日叫唤，或者是荒年之兆，却极有田村的风味。有许多耳朵皮嫩的人，很恶喧嚣。
Those with flower strips were brought back and placed in the yard. They usually barked a few times, but in the past few days they barked all day long. This may be a sign of famine, but it has a very Tamura flavor. There are many people with tender ears who hate noise.
如麻雀、蛤蟆或蝉的叫声，凡足以妨碍他们的甜睡者，无一不痛恶而深觉之，大有欲灭此而午睡之意。我觉得大可以不必如此。
Like the chirping of sparrows, shrimps, toads, or cicadas, anything that can interfere with their sweet sleep will be hated and deeply rejected. There is a strong desire to eliminate this and take a nap. I think it is not necessary to do this.
随便听听都是很有趣味的，不但是这些9成失调的东西，一切鸣声其实都可以听。蛤蟆在水田里群叫，深夜静听，往往变成一种金属音，很是特别。
It is very interesting to listen casually. Not only are these long-term poetic things, everything can be listened. The shrimp screamed in the paddy field. Listening late at night, it often turns into a metallic sound, which is very special.
又有时仿佛是狗叫，古人常称蛙格为吠，大约也是从实验而来。我们院子里的蛤蟆现在只见花条的一种，它的叫声更不漂亮，只是咯咯咯这个叫法。
Sometimes it seems like a dog barking. The ancients often called frog clams barking, and they also came from experiments. The shrimp in our yard is now only a kind of flower bar, and its call is not beautiful, but the name of Jejij.
可以说是极音，平常自1声至3声，不会更多，唯在下雨的早晨，听他一口气叫上12、13声，可见他是实在喜欢极了。
It can be said that it is a leather, usually from 1 to 3, and there will be no more. Only in the rainy morning, listening to it in one breath to call 12 or 3 sounds. It can be seen that it really likes it.
这一场大雨恐怕在乡下的穷朋友是很大的一个不幸，但是我不曾亲见，单靠想象是不中用的，所以我不去虚伪地带为悲叹了。
This heavy rain is probably a great misfortune for poor friends in the countryside, but I have never seen it with my own eyes, and relying on imagination alone is useless, so I will not lament it hypocritically.
倘若有人说这所记的只是个人的事情，与人生无益，我也承认，我本来只想说个人的私事，此外别无意思。今天太阳已经出来，傍晚可以出外去游溪。
If someone says that this is only a personal affairs, it is not good for life. I also admit that I just want to say personal affairs. In addition, it is not optional. The sun has come out today, and you can go out to swim in the evening.
这封信也就不再写下去了。我住在北京，遇见这几天的雨，却叫我十分难过。北京向来少雨，所以不但语句不很完全，便是家无构造。
This letter will no longer be written. I live in Beijing, and the rain these days makes me very sad. There is always little rain in Beijing, so not only the rain gear is incomplete, but also the structure of the house.
于防雨亦欠周密，除了真正富翁以外，很少用石垛砖墙，大抵只用泥墙抹灰敷衍了事。近来天气转变，南方酷寒，而北方阴雨。
Instant rain protection is also owed. In addition to the real rich man, rarely use solid brick walls. Recently, the weather has changed, and the south is cool and the north.
因此，两方面的建筑上都露出缺陷。1星期前的雨把后园的西墙淋瘫，第二天就有梁上君子来摸索北房的铁丝窗，从次日起赶紧邀了7、8位匠人。
Therefore, there are defects in the construction on both sides. The rain a week ago caused the west wall of the back garden to collapse. The next day, a gentleman from Liangshan came to explore the wire windows of the north room. From the next day, 7 or 8 craftsmen were quickly invited.
费2天功夫，从头改筑，已经成功10分8九，总算可以高枕而卧。前夜的雨却又将门口的南墙冲倒2、3丈之谱。这回受惊的可不是我了，乃是川岛君。
It took 2 days to work, and it was successful from scratch. It has been successful. Finally, it can be lying on the pillow, but the rain over the night after the end of the south wall at the door was overwhelmed. It's not me, but it is Kawashima Jun.
君们俩，因为梁上君子如再见光顾，一定是去躲在群们的窗下窃听的了。为消除群们的不安起来，一等天气晴正，急需大举的修筑。
The 2 of them, because the gentlemen of the Liangshan seem to see each other, it must be hiding under the window of the Chu to eavesdrop. In order to eliminate the uneasiness of the channels, the first-class weather was clear, and it was urgently built.
希望日子不至于很久，这几天只好暂时拜托川岛君的老弟费神代为警护罢了。前天十足下了一夜的雨，使我夜里不知醒了几遍。
I hope that the days will not be long. In the past few days, I have to temporarily ask the younger brother of Kawashima to be a police officer. The rain the night before yesterday made me wake up several times at night.
北京除了偶然有人高兴放几个爆仗以外，夜里总还安静，那样哗啦哗啦的雨声在我的耳朵已经不很听惯，所以时常被它惊醒。
Except for the occasional person who happily sets off a few firecrackers, Beijing is always quiet at night. My ears are not used to hearing the sound of rain, so I am often awakened by it.
就是睡着，也仿佛觉得耳边连着面条似的东西，睡得很不痛快。还有一层，前天晚间据小孩们报告，前面院子里的积水已经离台阶不及1寸。
Just to sleep as if I feel stuck with noodles in my ears. Sleeping is not very happy. There is also a layer. According to the child report the day before yesterday, the water in the yard was less than 1 inch from the steps.
夜里听着雨声，心里糊里糊涂的，总是想水已上了台阶，进入西边的书房里了。好容易到了早上5点钟，赤脚撑伞，跑到西屋一看，果然不出所料。
Listening to the sound of rain at night, Hulihu in his heart always thought that the water had been on the steps and immersed in the study west. It is easy to go to 5 o'clock in the morning, hold the umbrella barefoot, and go to the west house to see it.
水浸满了全屋，约有1寸深浅，这才叹了一口气，觉得放心了。倘若这样兴高采烈地跑去，一看却没有水，恐怕那是反觉得失望。
The water was soaked in the whole house, and there was about 1 inch of depth, so I sighed and felt relieved. If I ran away like this, there was no water at a glance. I am afraid I felt disappointed at that time.
没有现在那样的满足也说不定。幸而书籍都没有湿，虽然是没有什么价值的东西，但是湿成一饼一饼的纸糕也很是不愉快。现今水虽已退，
It may be uncertain without the current satisfaction. Fortunately, the books are not wet. Although there is nothing worthy, it is also unpleasant to wet the paper cake with pieces of pieces and cakes. Although the water has retreated today,
还留下一种长过大水后的普通的臭味，固然不能留客座谈，就是自己也不能在那里写字，所以这封信是在里边炕桌上写的。
there is still a general stench left after the water has swollen. Although we can't invite guests to sit and talk, we can't even write there, so I wrote this letter on the Kong table inside.
我本等着看你的秦游记，现在却由我先写给你看，这也可以算是意表之外的事罢。13年7月17日在京城说，鸟声，古人有言，以鸟鸣春。
I was waiting to read your Qin travel notes, but now I write it to you first. This can be regarded as an unexpected thing. Written in the capital on July 17th, 13th year. The sound of birds, an ancient saying goes, the birds sing in spring.
现在已过了春分，正是鸟声的时节了，但我觉得不大能够听到，虽然京城的西北隅已经近于乡村。这所谓鸟，当然是指那非名自在的东西。
It's past the spring equinox now, and it's the time for birds to sing, but I don't think I can hear them, even though the northwest corner of the capital is close to the countryside. The so-called bird, of course, refers to something that flies and sings freely.
不必说鸡鸣咿咿呀鸣嘎嘎的家奴，便是熟番式的鸽子之类也算不得数， 因为他们都是忘记了48节的了。
Needless to say, the slave's slave of the jimming duck is a pigeon like a cooked fan, because they have forgotten the 4 o'clock.
我所听见的鸟鸣，只有岩头麻雀的啾啾，以及槐树上每天早来的啄木的干笑，这似乎都不能报春麻雀的太琐碎了。
The only bird songs I heard were the chirping of sparrows on the eaves, and the dry laughter of woodpeckers on the locust trees that came every morning. These didn't seem to herald spring, the sparrows were too trivial.
而啄木又不免多一点干枯的气味。英国诗人纳许 Nash 有一首诗被录在所谓名诗选 Golden Treasury 的卷首，他说
Woodpecker can't help but have a little dry smell. The British poet Nash has a poem, which is recorded in the roll of the Sow, called Golden Treasury. He said,
春天来了，百花开放，姑娘们跳舞着，天气温和，好鸟都歌唱起来。他列举4样鸟声，这9行的诗实在有趣，我却总不敢译，因为怕译则译不好。
Spring is here, flowers are blooming, girls are dancing, the weather is mild, and good birds are singing. He listed 4 bird sounds. This 9-line poem is really interesting, but I always dare not translate it because I am afraid of it. The translation is not good.
2则要译错，现在只抄出一行来，看那4样是什么鸟。第一种是伯姑，书名施鸠，它是自乎其名的，可以无疑了。第2种是夜莺，就是那林间的发痴的鸟。
The second is to mistranslate. Now just copy out 1 line and see what kind of birds those 4 things are. The first type is Bogu, whose book title is Yugyo. He calls himself by his name, there is no doubt about it. The second type is the nightingale, which is the mad bird in the forest.
古希腊女诗人称之曰春之使者，美音的夜莺，它的名贵可想而知，只是我不知道它到底是什么东西。我们乡间的黄莺也会翻叫。
The ancient Greek female poet called him the messenger of spring, the nightingale of beautiful sound. One can imagine how valuable he is, but I don't know what he is. The yellow warblers in our countryside also call.
被捕后常因想念妻子而急死，与他西方的表兄弟相同，但他要吃小鸟，而且又不发痴地唱上一夜，以至于呕泻。第4种虽似异怪，乃是猫头鹰。
After being arrested, he often died because he missed his wife. He was the same as his western cousin, but he had to eat birds, and he sang overnight and vomited. Although the 4th one seems to be an owl.
第3种则不大明了，有人说是文母鸟，或云是田蝠，但据斯密士的《鸟的生活与故事》第1章所说，系小猫头鹰。倘若是真的，
The third type is not clear.
那么4种好鸟之中，猫头鹰一家已占其2了。斯密士说，这2者都是褐色猫头鹰，与别的怪声怪象的不同，他的书中虽有图像。
Then the owl family of the 4 good birds has occupied the second. Smith said that both of them are brown owls, which is different from other strange sounds. Although his book has images.
我也认不得这是吃世鸮还是琉璃之子，不过总是猫头鹰之类罢了。儿时曾听见他们的呼声， 有的声如货郎的摇鼓，有的恍若连呼绝望。
I can't tell whether it's an owl, or a wandering sun, but it's always an owl or something like that. I heard their calls when I was a child. Some sounded like a salesman's drum, and some sounded like dig a hole in succession.
最后云，俗云不祥主有死丧，所以闻者多极懊恼。大约此风古已有之，察检官剖道人的小言雅。
Zhuoang, it is said that it is unlucky to be associated with death and mourning. So many people who hear it are very upset. This probably has existed since ancient times. Check out Taoist Guanluo's Shao Yenya.
所录古今琴言中不见有猫头鹰的话，然而仔细回想，觉得那些叫声实在并不错，比任何风声、箫声、鸟声更为有趣，如诗人谢勒 Shelley 所说。
There are no owl words among the recorded bird words of ancient and modern times. However, thinking about it carefully, I feel that those calls are actually quite good, more interesting than any wind, flute, and bird sounds, as the poet Shelley said.
现在，就北京来说，这几样名声都没有，所有的还只是麻雀和啄木鸟。老瓜，乡间称云舞老鸦，在北京是每天可以听到的，但是一点风雅气也没有。
Now, as far as Beijing is concerned, there are no such sounds. All there are sparrows and woodpeckers. Laogu, also known as Yunwulawa in the countryside, can be heard every day in Beijing, but it has no elegance at all.
而且是通年噪聒，不知道它是那一季的鸟。麻雀和啄木鸟虽然唱不出好的歌来，在那琐碎和干枯之中，到底还含一些春气。
And it's noisy. I do know that he was the bird of that season. Although the sparrows and woodpeckers can't sing good songs, there are some spring in that trivial and dry, alas.